everybody, Mrs. Bianchi. Use the dot plot to answer questions 7 through 9. The dot plot shows the number of hours each student in Ms. Hood's class studied for today's test. And here's the dot plot. By the way, I made it larger over here. How many students are in Ms. Hood's class? So we would need to count each one of these dots to represent each student to figure out how many students. So let's use the bigger one to figure that out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 students. 25 students. All right, so if we have 25 students, let me write down that as being our data points. 25, so we keep track. All right, what is the median number of hours that students studied? And we need to figure out the median. Now, just to remind you about the measures of central tendency, here they are. It's mode, median, and mean, and we're talking right now about the median. So that's the middle number in an ordered data set. Now, the nice thing about a dot plot, because sometimes what they do is they just list out a bunch of numbers and they're not already ordered. The nice thing about a dot plot is they're already kind of ordered for you. Now, if we were to list out all these numbers, which would be the hard way to do this, we have 2 occurrences of a 0. We have no occurrences of that, right? We have 2 occurrences of a 1. We have 4 occurrences of a 1 and 5/10. I could keep this list going, and we could list them all out, and we could figure out what number or numbers are in the middle. But this is the long way to do it. So this is an unfinished list here that I have. We have to write all the numbers out all the way till we get to 4.5. That would take too long. So the faster way to do this when you have a dot plot in front of you is to know how many data points you have, which we have 25, and we're going to divide 25 by 2 to get the halfway point. Now, since 25 is an odd number, that means we're going to have one number that'll end up in the middle. If we had an even number of values, we'd have 2 numbers in the middle. So I actually think it's a little bit easier when you have an odd number of data points. So what we would do just to help ourselves is throw a 0 on there because it's not going to work out evenly. 2 goes into that once. Bring down the 5. 2 goes into that twice. It's a little sloppy. Bring this down. And 2 goes into 10 5 times. And it works out evenly. Now, of course, you would be allowed to use a calculator in a situation like this to get this 12 and 5/10. All right, so 12 and 5/10 is the number of dots or data points that we want to count in. So let's write that number down. So when we get to that 12th dot, that's when we're going to use this number right here to count in from the low end, and then we'll do the same thing from the high end. So again, we're going to count in our heads this number. Watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's count in 12, excuse me, from the high end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So do you see how we have one dot that hasn't been crossed out yet? That dot, whatever number that lands on, would be the median, which you can see that's going to be answer choice B. Now, again, I just want to throw out there, what if we had an even number of values? Like if this had been 24, then we wouldn't have a dot that we'd be looking at. We'd have to see where the red meets the green and take the average of those 2 dots. So that's a little more complicated. I don't even have a good example here to show you, but I'll make another video for when that happens so that you can kind of see how that's a slightly different approach. But for this one, you're going to go with B. Now, again, how many students are in the class? It's how many data points there are. And the median is the number that's in the middle when the data set is ordered. Now, if this doesn't make any sense to you, then unfortunately you'd have to finish off this list and you would count still 12 data points from the low end, and you would count 12 data points from the high end until you find the number or the numbers in the middle. And again, if there are 2 numbers in the middle, you have to average those 2 numbers or find the mean of the 2 numbers.